The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we are talking the top 5 worst movies 2022. Welcome, everybody, to the episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast where we talk about the worst movies that we watched this year. These movies, just full disclosure, might not have been produced in 2022, but we watched them this year and we hated them. So we're going to talk about them today. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader is here. What's up, dude? You look confused.
I don't know how I missed that.
You didn't do your homework.
No, I'm looking at what he's right. You know, I'm stupid. I'm
Oh my God, he's being so hard on himself today. He already made a fat joke, a small dick joke, and now he's making
dumb jokes.
He's like, oh, I'm dumb.
Do you guys notice how much I look like a mall Santa right now?
You do look like a mall Santa.
Do.
You're pulling it off.
You're kind of freaking me out.
You need some like half moon old man glasses.
I have those at home. Does this help?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, you need a little bell now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a Salvation Army Santa? I don't want to be.
Jude is also here. Welcome, Jude. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Matthew Kadish is also here. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, so I just want to make it clear that these are the worst movies that we saw this year.
Yes.
It's not necessarily the worst movies that were released in 2022, but just the 5 worst ones that we happened to watch, whether it be for the podcast or personally or like whatever.
Yeah, because it's all about us.
Yeah, the
this
rules.
This is our live stream, and we make the rules.
It's our rules. The points were made up, and nothing matters. All right.
I mean,
what's up?
this is not going to be hard.
No, it's not. Dude, there's so many movies that I was like scrolling through.
It was hard to limit it.
Personally, I had to narrow it down to movies that were made in 2022 because there's so many bad movies that I watched this year, but I was like, I have to figure out how to boil this down. So for me, my 5th worst movie of the year, unfortunately, because I'm a huge fan of this franchise, was Uncharted with Mark Wahlberg, Tom Holland, Antonio Banderas.
That was terrible.
The movie had so many things right that it could have been awesome, but it fell into that video game movie hole where every video game movie ever made gets thrown into. And I was super bummed out because the games are freaking awesome and I had high hopes for it, but it wasn't like, I don't know. No, it was pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
It was. It was really bad. It was boring, and it was a slaction movie. We've talked about slaction movies where like every action scene is just like, well, we had an idea for an action scene, so we're gonna figure out how to string it together with the story, and it just kind of was like, meh.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue that Uncharted wasn't necessarily bad. It was just disappointing. It was a very boring film. Like you just like every time Wahlberg's on screen, you're just like, yeah, I'm into this. And then like, you know, once he leaves, you're just like, oh, Tom Holland's so boring.
Tom Holland could have been. I mean, he's a good actor. He does some cool things, but
there is that one funny scene where Tom Holland's facing off with this Irish guy, and he's like speaking with a heavy Irish accent.
It's like, I have no idea what you're saying right now. It's got moments that are really good. But yeah, it's just not a great movie. So anyway, V, have you been able to figure out your...
Oh, well, I know the first one easily
Go ahead.
is going to be Thor.
Thor Love and Thunder?
Love and Thunder. Yeah, 100%. So we were... It's bad, guys. It's not good. I mean, yeah, like I said earlier, it could be on both my favorite and the worst movies because it's Thor.
Because when you first saw it, you told me that you had a lot of fun.
I did have fun with it, but man, it doesn't age well. It doesn't age well. It just the more I see it, and I've seen it several times since we initially saw it, it's really hard to get through. The scene at the beginning where he's doing the splits with the things, and
I didn't watch it.
It goes beyond fun and just turns into just campy, cartoony stupidness, and it's weird watching, you know, a non-animated Thor do that kind of stuff. I didn't like it.
There is a point of pride for me. I have not watched a single Marvel movie this year. Not a single one. I haven't even seen the Spider-Man movie, which I know a lot of people said was awesome. I was like, nah. I like purposely avoided Marvel movies this year for whatever reason. I'm over them. I don't need them. And Thor Love and Thunder definitely fell into that hole. I was like, yeah, I'm good. Jude, number 5.
All right. This is a movie that we watched for the podcast that I had never seen before, that the whole time I was watching it, I was audibly upset with Kadish for making us watch it. It is not a recent movie. It starred Fred Savage and Christian Slater. It is 1989's The Wizard.
Oh my God, that movie was so bad.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
So bad.
Kadish stands by it to this day.
That movie sucked.
When did we watch that?
I think Tom was here that week.
It was for Video Game Week.
Yeah, because I have.
Wait, I missed Video Game Week?
You did miss Video Game Week.
You guys had Video Game Week without me.
No. Listen, we scheduled Video Game Week, and then you were like, "Hey guys, I have to leave. I'm gonna miss this week," and we were like, "Okay."
All right, whatever.
But Tom was here for that.
Yeah.
But yes, I totally agree.
Thank
Wizard
you.
sucked.
Wizard was horrible.
It was
I
a bad
don't
movie.
think it was Video Game Week. I think it was like Computer Week because we did War Games that same week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which War Games?
War Games was great.
War Games has made my top S&P moment list. So there's a moment in there's
With the corn on the cob.
there's a, oh yeah. Don't spoil it.
I remember that scene blew all of our
Yes,
minds.
I was amazed. So check out the top S&P moments for that little nugget of gold. Anyway, so yeah, The Wizard was an awful movie.
Yeah.
Not made in 2022, but equally bad.
I only have one movie on my list that was made in 2022.
Okay. Kadish, the fifth worst movie that you watched this year.
All right. This might be a controversial opinion, but the fifth worst movie I saw this year was Morbius.
I don't think that's controversial.
Starring Matt Smith. Well, I mean, so many people thought this was the most brilliant movie to
I think
ever
it's
grace.
controversial that it's only 5 on your list.
I couldn't even finish
It
it.
might be, but you had Jared Leto in the leading role, and then you had Matt Smith as the bad guy. And this movie was so stupid. And
Matt Smith did his best.
well, they all did their best, but I mean, they had been building this thing up, and it was a Sony movie in the Spider-Man universe, and it had kind of a cool in-credit scene with
Malcolm Keaton.
yeah,
That's the Vulture.
So, and they were tying it into the Venom verse and Tom Hardy and like all this other stuff. But like all that stuff just rings so hollow to me because I'm like, why is Sony trying to build their own parallel cinematic universe to Marvel? Like it's so dumb. And Jared Leto is not a movie star. I don't care what anyone says. Like I don't like him in anything I see him in. So it was very hard for me to connect. And Matt Smith's performance was just so over the top stupid. And you compare it to like him in the Dance of the Dragons, House of the Dragon, and he's so good in that.
Yeah.
And I loved him as Doctor Who. And then like you see him in something like this, and you're just like he's slumming it. He's collecting a paycheck. But yeah, that was a rough movie to get through this year.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I agree. I didn't even finish it. So I think it's on Netflix or it's on one of the streaming services.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's there. I might as well see it just so I have context for the discussion. I got like halfway through. I'm like, I'm not going to finish this.
So we're talking about movies we've watched this year?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they're new or old.
Correct.
Apparently. Yeah.
Okay.
It's whatever you think is worst.
Yeah. All right.
I personally, like I said before.
We watched a lot of shitty movies this
Yes,
year.
we did.
Yes.
I think our ratio to shit to good has been really skewed.
Yeah.
I blame you. I really do. I
How
blame you.
damn.
dare you?
All right, my fourth worst movie that I watched this year was, unfortunately, again, I was really looking forward to this movie, was Jordan Peele's Nope.
Okay.
I still haven't seen that.
You said you liked the first 15
The
minutes.
first 20 minutes is fucking awesome. And then there's one scene towards like the middle where the kind of like climaxes in the middle and then it kind of before it ends. That's really cool visually. But the movie just freaking fell on a slump for the second half to the point where I was like looking at my watch the whole time. I was checking my phone. I'm like, God, when is this going to end? It was just like, it started off with such a cool rush and a cool concept. And then by the end, you were just like, eh. And I walked out of the theater like really bummed out. And my buddy that took me, it was like we like hang out. We're two dads who have kids. And we're like, let's go out and hang out and get a drink and go watch this cool movie.
Go on a date.
Go on a man date. And then we left and we were like, shit, that sucked, dude. So it was a really bummer. I know Jordan Peele's a really talented guy. He does a lot of other cool movies that were really good. What was it? Get Out, and there was one other, Us, that were really cool.
I
and
liked Us.
very inventive and really scary. This movie just fell really flat for me. I did not like it. So it lands on my number 4 list. So V, do you have a number 4?
I do.
Oh, excellent.
It's like I'm not prepared, but I do know what we easily watch a lot of terrible movies.
You can make a number 5 list in 3
got a lot
minutes.
to choose
my
from.
my list is not in like any order.
Okay.
But I'm still really pissed off and upset with you that I had to watch that stupid ass animatronic dinosaur movie about
The Valley of Gwangi?
The Valley of Gwangi.
Oh.
That was awful. It was awful. You owe me 2 hours of my life. I want it back, and I'm gonna beat it out of you ass. So it's just at some point.
Santa's coming for you.
Well, what is this?
I'm gonna have to make you come to my house and like put lights up for Christmas just to punish you.
Oh shit! I forgot to do that thing that you asked me to do.
I know.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I still need you to work on my car.
But yeah, that movie.
I have a growing list of honeydew things.
That movie, it was just bad. I mean, I don't usually sit here and just complain for 20 minutes. Well, that's not true. But that movie just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Okay.
All around. It was just not good.
Speaking of terrible movies, bad taste.
Oh God.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with The Valley of the Guanji because it is one that we watched recently.
Was it 1968 or something like that? That's an old ass movie.
Retro We Watch.
Yeah.
I think it was even earlier than that.
In fact, I thought our whole Retro We Watch month was kind of weak this year. We watched a lot of shit. A lot of shit this year. So
Vampire Lovers?
that almost made my list.
That almost made my top list.
There was too many boobs in that movie for it not to make my list. So yeah.
Oh, okay, got you. I'm like, wait a second. Jude, number 4.
Speaking of boobs, this is another movie that we watched for the podcast that I thought would, given the amount of time that has passed between it came out and now, I thought that it might have gained some campy charm to it, and it did not. It's still horrible. Showgirls.
How dare you?
It's an awful movie.
Oh man, it's a hard watch.
Yeah.
I really wanted it to be campy, like to consider that it was campy now. And I haven't seen it probably since it came out, and we watched it for the podcast this year. Another one that Kadish wanted us to watch, and wow, is that a hard watch?
Yeah.
Terrible.
But you can't stop once you start.
I know.
So
that's what makes it bad.
Is it really that bad?
It's like being in Clockwork Orange. Like you have to just keep watching.
It's like every time you watch it, you know it's a train wreck.
She was just,
but you can't stop. You can't take your eyes off.
The main character.
And you just feel bad for the actress the whole time because Paul Verhoeven like made her act like that, and that's what's wrong with most of the movie. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I have to watch it to the pool scene, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
It's the
oh my God, the sex in the pool.
The weirdest sex in the pool
was so
ever.
weird.
It's so weird.
Yes.
It's like, yes, Jesse Spano naked.
Her orgasm was confined just to her neck.
I
forgot about that scene.
Yeah, it's like you know.
It's so bad.
It's like you
and
never.
He's like, what would you really charge? And she's like, I don't know, like 20, 40 bucks.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
That movie, it's so disappointing because you know you want to see all the chicks from the
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell naked, right? And then we get it.
Just follow them on Instagram.
I know, then you get it, and you're like, oh.
Kadish, number 4. Worst movie this year.
All right. So this is going to be another controversial pick because 2 of you rated this as one of the best movies you saw this year.
Uh-oh.
And that is The Northman. I hated that movie. I'm not a big Robert Eggers fan, and he's the director and writer behind the movie. I find him extremely pretentious, and I found this movie extremely pretentious.
It was.
And I hate going to the theater to see pretentious movies. So like to me, like this was just one eye roll after another. I did not like it. I know a lot of people praised it for being like non-woke and being manly and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is a dumb movie. This is basically just Hamlet, and except like with Vikings. And that was it. Like it was a pretty movie, but overall it was just not for me.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know, man. I love that movie. I had a blast. I watched it twice. I bought it when it came out for
Never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you like it. There's a moment in the movie where he fights a giant zombie, which was fucking really cool.
I like zombies.
There's also a moment in the movie where a woman smears period blood on someone's face.
I like period
That also
blood.
happened. What did you
Hey
just
man, everybody needs a little period blood on their face.
Got his red wings that day.
Oh,
Everybody needs
Jesus.
a little bit of period blood.
All right, moving on to number 3 worst movie of the year. This probably should be a little bit higher on my list, but I actually got a chance to watch R.I.P.D. 2.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have not watched
Yeah. It's not as bad as the first one, honestly, in my opinion. I know it was Kevin Bacon and Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges and all that. Like I had an A-list
Kevin
cast.
Bacon came back for it?
No. I'm talking about the first one. The second one doesn't have anybody from the first movie, but I felt like the movie was slightly better than the original. I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey Donovan, who played Michael Weston from Burn Notice. extraordinary actor. I love him in just about every movie he's in. He's the best part of this movie, but the movie itself, the dialogue is really dumb. It sounds like it's written by like a teenager who's writing like a comic book or something. Like it feels very comic booky, but not in a good way. The story was bland. The biggest problem that this movie had was it was so exposition heavy. They spent more than half the movie of just people explaining what's happening in the world. So it was very much like a tell, don't show. So like I would have much rather, it would have been way better if they would have just showed you what the world is about, because it was based in like the 1800s. It's a cowboy movie. It has all the right ingredients. It was just really poorly done. But I watched it and it was not that good. And I was really bummed out because I love Jeffrey Donovan. He's really cool.
Did anybody get Billy goated?
Buffaloed.
They got Buffalo.
They got buffaloed. There's some buffaloes doing some shit in that movie.
Buffaloes.
I'm not going to watch it.
You're not going to watch it. No, we're going to watch it. Fuck, I love that movie. That should be on my top 5 best list ever every year. Freaking
president from
Tatanka.
President from Battlestar Galactica and the guy from Yellowstone.
Battlestar Galactica?
President Rosalind.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And,
What's your number? What are we on? 3?
are we on 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, amazingly enough, my third pick is a third part of a series of movies we watched earlier this year, and it was really, really bad. Really bad. It's about these worms that live underground, and then they come up and they barf up their offspring, and then they mutate and evolve.
Ass blaster.
Yeah.
Oh, Tremors 3.
Tremors 3, Back to Perfection,
Mm-hmm.
is a huge, giant pile of dog shit. And it's yet another movie that I'm upset that we watched. Because there's really only one good Tremors movie, and that's the first one, and it's fantastic.
I've heard like the 7th one is okay. Is that true? Is that what you were talking about, Kadish?
But man, I couldn't go past 3. And I know 4 is supposed to be kind of fun and stuff, but I just... No more. I'm over it.
What about the TV show with Kevin Bacon? I heard
that probably would have been good.
Yeah.
Judging by the cool ass trailer we saw.
Yeah,
David Hewlett saw it and he said it was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, the trailer we saw was really good, but man, they really got weird and goofy and cheap by the time they got to the third movie here. And it didn't work for me at all. So,
all right.
Yeah, I don't need no ass blasters in my life. But I mean, the ass blaster thing is kind of funny in and of itself, and
it's fun to make fun of, but it didn't work in the movie.
Yeah, but that movie was awful.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So ass blasters. Back to Tremors 3.
Jude.
All right.
You're number 3.
This is another oldie but goodie.
Okay.
So I've been on a mission this year to watch everything that we have a movie poster of on the walls in the studio. And this movie poster is behind Vader, and it stars Talia Shire and Armand Assante. Prophecy.
Okay.
That movie poster is a lie. This movie was so bad. It was so dumb. And it was basically just about a couple who are shitty and they went camping. And there is a monster, but there is no prophecy. And the whole movie, I was like, oh, because she's pregnant in the movie. Spoiler. This movie came out in 1979. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry that I just spoiled it. But she's pregnant. And the whole movie, I was like, her baby's going to be the prophecy. And they never mention her pregnancy ever again. I hated it. And it was a waste of time. And every time I walk past that poster, I'm like, you're a fucking liar.
Jude's going to decorate.
The poster looks awesome.
Yeah, no, that poster's going to disappear one of these days. Watch. Jude's going to be like, never looking at this thing again. Yeah. Right on. All right, cool. Kadish, number 3. Take it away.
All right. So number 3 is a movie that I know that Alex has a special place in his heart in, but it traumatized me. Like, seriously, it traumatized me. And I hate you every day for making me watch it. And that is Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, Jesus.
This almost made my list.
That movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's Kurt Russell, bro.
I'm with you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
just because you have a facial hair fetish doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when I watched this movie, I literally had to avert my eyes from watching the screen most of the time because it's one of the most uncomfortable movies I think I've ever been forced to sit through.
Yeah.
And I did not like it. And I still have nightmares about this movie. So thank you, Alex. I appreciate the trauma. So
that fucking movie's great, dude. Bone Tomahawk. Gives a whole like
moments.
Oh man, the brutality of it, and just like the clinical grossness.
It's okay, except for the super realistic part when they cut the dude in half.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that.
I almost threw up the first time I watched it.
I think I did a little bit.
When I had no idea. Like my buddy recommended it to me. He's like, "Hey, dude, go watch Bone Tomahawk." I'm like, "Oh, cool, Western with Kurt Russell, hell yeah!" And when that got to that moment, and I was watching it, I had to stop the movie and go to the bathroom and just like compose. And almost, I didn't throw up, but I was very close. And then I had to go back and watch it. And then it's just like it's burned into my brain. But that movie, if you have a strong stomach, that fucking movie is awesome.
Yeah. And if you're like me, you want to claw your eyes out.
Alex is like, I had to stop the movie, go to the bathroom, and jerk off.
Oh, Kurt Russell's facial hair. Oh,
yeah. He has dope ass facial hair in that movie, though. It's great.
It's so terrible. That movie's horrible.
You know, you're gonna not have to work at a place where you have to shave all the time someday, and you're just gonna grow these giant stupid mutton chops.
Mutton chops.
My sides are weak,
and we're gonna make fun of you when you do it.
No, I can't pull it off. I've tried.
Put some of that eyelash serum to make your eyelashes grow. We'll put them right here on you.
I gotta call. I'll call David Hewlett and ask him if I can have his prosthetic mutton chops. All right, my number. What are we on? Two. Okay, the second worst movie. And I don't think anybody's seen this movie besides maybe like 4 people, but it is a Liam Neeson action hero movie called Memory. He plays an assassin who has Alzheimer's.
Never heard of it.
And he can't remember some key things about who he's supposed to assassinate, when, and what kind of evidence he leaves behind.
This synopsis is just making me feel sad.
It's an unbelievably bad movie.
Is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be no. It's supposed to be like a serious action, like Taken or something like that. But it's just like a boiled down derivative of his far superior movie Taken. But he's an assassin. He's supposed to go kill somebody, but he feels bad about it because it's like a young girl or something like that, and he doesn't do it. But he forgets that he doesn't do it, and then the people who hired him come after him, and then he has to fight them off, but he can't remember who hired him. It's just fucking awful. Boy. And then he dies at the end. Spoiler alert.
Oh man, I was gonna watch it.
And then there's like 20 more minutes of the movie, and you're like, why am I watching the rest of this movie? Liam Neeson's dead.
They Peter Jackson did.
They did. It was so dumb. I was like, I like Liam Neeson, and sometimes his action movies are okay, but recently, man, it's just, oh my God, it's like cashing a paycheck hard.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, and there's another movie that he did that's very similar to that. I think it's called Marksman. Which is equally as bad.
Isn't he just making
he plays
movies over and over and over?
Yeah, he plays. I don't know. He basically plays the Mandalorian, and he has to take care of this little kid who doesn't speak English, and he has to like save him from the cartel or something. But it's just dumb and bad, and I think he dies at the end of that one too.
All right.
So yeah, Memory, second worst movie I watched this year. Bad, really bad. V, how about you? Number 2. Well,
number 2. I don't know how to do this because I can't speak its name.
Is it my number 1? I wonder.
There's this really cool series of movies that came out. There's 3 of them. All right. They star Harrison Ford as this adventurer.
Wait. This movie doesn't exist though.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors, but
for some reason I watched this movie that I'm blanking on, but it really leaves a really huge pile of stank in my chest. It hurts me when I have dreams about this movie.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist in this universe.
In this universe.
Yeah.
But I had this dream that for some reason we were sat around this table and watched this mythical 4th Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
And it was awful. It had like aliens and shit in it, and and people were eaten by ants, which was kind of cool. It just took the whole Indiana Jones mythos and ripped its heart out and soul, and it really made me sad. So, and I keep having these recurring flashbacks about this thing. So I'm gonna put that on my list. And it was something about crystal skulls and stuff. But yeah, I think that would be like my number 2 worst thing that I've watched this year. And that's saying something that it's number 2. That means there's something worse. Out there.
I think we all are in a consensus as to what that might be.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with that movie that I won't speak its name of as my number 2 worst movie that I watched this year.
Okay.
And I'm gonna leave it at that because It is ass. It's bullshit, and I never want to speak of it again. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Perfect.
So,
Jude, number 2.
Okay, so this is the one movie on my list that came out this year. I also have a TV show in my honorable mention, but this, my number 2, this is a movie in a franchise that is one of my favorites of all time, but this movie was a victim of today. They took out 2 of the main characters. They replaced the main villain with somebody else, and the whole movie didn't make sense, and I don't even know why they released it. Secrets of Dumbledore, Fantastic Beasts.
oh yeah,
I haven't watched any of those
Oh,
movies.
it's so bad. I could not wait to go see this just because I love the universe. I love the magic of it. And it was awesome having a movie that I was back in the universe of. But there are no Fantastic Beasts in the entire movie. There's one, but they did a shitty job with it. And they replaced Johnny Depp. They replaced him with Mads Mikkelsen, and they took out one of the main characters, who's like the love interest to the main character Eddie Redmayne, because she made some comments about J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling.
If J.K. Simmons, they would have been like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, he's a pothead. But she made some comments, and I think it's really stupid to have a Twitter war with someone who is responsible for your job and think that you can still maintain your job. So they cut her out of the movie, and it really affected the movie. The whole movie did not make sense. I hated the movie. And it's a shame because I love this franchise.
Yeah, Secrets of Dumbledore was very heavily affected by the politics going on at Warner Brothers at the time. And to hear this end up on your worst list, like, you are one of the biggest like Harry Potter fans I know.
Yeah.
And for you to say that this was bad, I mean,
yeah,
that's a big
Our
deal.
entire wedding theme is Harry Potter. Like, besides Buffy, this is my favorite franchise of all time.
That's a bummer. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
for
it's a
that,
real
Jude.
fucking bummer.
I'm sorry, Jude. Number 2, worst movie. Kadish, take it away.
All right. So yet again, this is a movie that was recommended to me by Alex. Yeah. And I don't know why I keep listening to him.
you should never do that.
Yeah. But
Why are we friends?
I ask that question all the time.
But so like there was a movie that came out a while back on Netflix. It was a Netflix original, and Alex just couldn't stop raving about it. And he's like, "You guys, you got to watch this movie." I'm like, "Okay, I'll go check it out." It was the dumbest fucking movie.
What was it?
But it was from the director of Top Gun Maverick, which was one of my best of the year, and it also had Chris Hemsworth, Thor, in it, and Miles Teller. And I was like, "Oh, this looks interesting." And it's a Netflix original movie called Spiderhead, and it's dumb as hell. Like, I felt like someone played a joke on me. Okay, I felt like Alex did this on purpose just to be spiteful. He's like, I'm going to waste Cage's time and make him angry and get his hopes up and then dash them against the wall. Oh God, this movie was so stupid, and it has so much going for it. But it made me realize that the guy who directed Top Gun Maverick is probably just like, that movie was probably good because of Tom Cruise, not because of him.
It was directed by Tom Cruise.
Yeah, pretty much. So like I watched this movie and I was like, everyone's bad in it. Miles Teller's bad. Chris Hemsworth's bad. This movie's bad. It's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And so, yes, thank you, Alex, for adding yet another of the worst movies of the year to my list.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I mean,
It wasn't great. It didn't make my top 5 best list ever or whatever. But for like a Netflix original, I was like, oh, it was pretty interesting and kind of cool.
You have terrible taste in movies.
Yeah, well,
It's true. It is known.
it's my podcast, so fuck off.
We can go make our own, I guess.
I think we should let Alex do his number 1, and then the 3 of us should
Yes.
just
Well,
say our number 1
I think
together.
we should do a raise of hands.
Well, hold on.
Let him go first.
All right.
Because he wasn't here that week.
I guarantee you that mine is not the same as yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my number 1 worst movie this year, and it was a real bummer because I was really looking forward to it. Blonde, the Marilyn Monroe biopic. That movie
really?
fucking sucked. It was so bad. Like, the actress, I can't
Anna
remember.
de Armas.
Thank you. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful, gorgeous in the movie. She tried so damn hard to get rid of her accent, but she just couldn't do it.
Really?
So she had a little bit of a Hispanic like lean to her Marilyn Monroe way of talking, and it was like, that doesn't work. And the movie has no like normal linear story to it. It's like it kind of like hopscotches through her life, but it's everything horrible that ever happened to this poor woman. The movie was such a freaking bummer. And maybe to a point it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like a lesson about like old Hollywood sucked. Like, okay, yeah, it probably did. But Jesus, this movie was a downer, dude. It sucked. There's no good story to it. It's just one terrible moment after another. The performances were fine. She did a great job acting, except for like a little bit of an accent slip. But I think there's another actor that's really, really talented in the movie too. I can't remember his name at the moment, but
John Hamm.
John Hamm was in it, but there was also Adrian Brody. He's in the movie as well, and he plays one of her husbands or one of her love interests or something like that. And he was a pretty talented guy, but the movie overall, I just was like, God, that was awful. Like it was long as shit, and it was like, I felt drained after watching it, and it just wasn't good. It just was not a good story. Like there was no rhyme or reason for it. It was just like, here's some shitty things that happened to a person a long time ago.
I feel like Adrian Brody always rides that line between like interesting and a fucking bummer.
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
Yeah.
So,
But here's what I do know. Oh, go ahead, Kadish.
so Alex, I was going to say the three of us watched a movie
Yeah.
for our holiday special, Thanksgiving holiday special, that had you been here for it, I'm convinced you would have quit the podcast.
I was just gonna say, if you had been here for that, you would have completely forgotten about your Maryland. That would have made your top list if you had been here with us.
Alex would have flipped the table.
He would have said, "I'm out, done."
I probably would have vetoed it before we had to watch it.
So we can't come up with our lists independently. And just through a psychic link, me, Jude, and Matt here all came up with the same top worst movie we saw in 2022.
And we haven't conferred, but we all know. We all know.
Yeah. So
100%.
Vader, do you want to say what it was?
Oh, the worst movie.
Wait. Let's just do 3, 2, 1.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Poltergeist. Night of the Chicken Dead.
Night of the Chicken Dead. One of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's the worst movie. Yeah. Besides the movie that we do not speak of. So stop fucking saying it in the comments.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people.
Yeah, that movie is actually worse than Poltergeist in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
it was last
Poltergeist
year.
it's like razor thin margin.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that
this movie has boobs in it, and they're not even good.
It's gross.
They're gross.
gross boobs?
They have college lesbians making out, and it's not sexy.
Yeah. It's just disgusting.
Yeah,
The whole movie is gross.
It's one of the grossest movies I think I've ever seen in my life.
is this when I went camping?
Yes.
Yeah. See, you guys always pick the worst movies when I'm not
Okay.
here.
And
So I want to squash this idea that I have terrible taste in movies because when I'm not around, you guys pick awful movies.
No, it's not about terrible taste in movies, Alex. You like bad movies.
Oh yeah, you have terrible taste.
It's like we picked a movie that was bad to watch. That's not the same thing.
When you're gone, we try to pick movies that we know you're not gonna want to watch. So that's why we watch like Exorcist movies and shit like that when you're gone, because it's like,
can we do that next year instead?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, I think it's important to point out that, so we did a skits and bits where we had like a list of like fake movie titles.
Yeah. So where this movie came from,
and
came
so
from a skit.
and so there was a skit where like, this movie Poltergeist Night of the Chicken Dead was involved, and everyone had to guess like what was the fake movie title, because we picked just a bunch of like ridiculous sounding movies. And everyone said like, oh, the Poltergeist thing sounds crazy, we should check that out. And so we scheduled it for our Thanksgiving special. And oh boy, was that a mistake.
It was a very, very, very big mistake.
It's literally one of the worst movies ever made. Ever. Like the poop humor, if you want to call it that.
It's just gross out humor. Like the opening scene is like two kids fucking on top of a grave in a skeleton comes up and like anally penetrates the guy while some like caretaker is just like jerking off with like a dildo.
It's the worst.
Oh
it's
God,
the worst.
it's so fucking gross.
So bad.
The whole movie is,
and it gets worse from there.
That's the opening?
Yeah, I know trauma fans who think this movie is terrible.
Yeah.
This is a trauma film.
That's saying something.
Yeah. I wanted to quit. And it is a testament to me and my strength of character that I did not quit watching this movie.
Well, what's funny is the movie's actually a musical, if you believe it or not.
Oh my God.
I did make Kadish fast forward
Jude
through
made
all of the
me
music numbers.
fast forward through all the musical numbers.
I was like, I cannot. I will quit if I have to watch a musical number in this disgusting movie.
And it was also written and directed by Lloyd Kaufman, who is the owner of Troma. Yeah. And he actually has like a little cameo in the movie. But like, oh my God.
Horrible.
This is literally the most terrible movie I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like right next to the movie that shall not be named.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do have
I don't
an
even like
honorable
talking
mention.
about
Does
it.
anybody have an honorable
I
mention?
have one honorable
Right.
mention. It was Father Stew with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh.
It's another biopic. The movie itself isn't bad.
Mark
but
Wahlberg was in it?
Mark Wahlberg, but he is so bland toast with a little bit of butter on it. Mark Wahlberg, like he's just Mark Wahlberg in this movie, and it's not inspiring. It's not funny. It's not like sad or cool. It's just like, ugh. Like, okay, yeah, that's a story about a person. Okay.
Okay, neat.
Thanks. Like,
You're a hood rat who turned into a priest.
yeah, I was like,
Okay.
okay. Like there was nothing definable about this movie. It was just like Mark Wahlberg doing a few things. That's the best I can say about it. It's like, okay, I guess if you're a diehard, huge Mark Wahlberg fan, you'll probably like
That's
it a
on
little
Netflix,
bit.
right?
I think so. Netflix or Amazon, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
I've scrolled past it a couple of times and just been like, meh.
yeah, that's basically the feeling I had after I watched it was meh. But what was your honorable mention?
Does anybody else have an
I don't.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Kadish?
Kadish?
Okay. So my honorable mention is a television show, not a movie. Halo.
Oh yeah.
Fuck that show so
That
hard.
was bad.
That movie or that show sucked.
Yeah.
That was
I had
bad.
to mention it. I know it doesn't really qualify for 5 worst
Halo-
movies, but oh my God, it was so bad. It's one of the shows that like I had to just abstain from.
Yeah.
Like I did with Foundation. I was like, I'm not watching this anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it
did
was,
the
it
same
was
thing with
also
Halo.
a show that we were all very excited for. And once we committed to it, we were like, we wish we didn't commit to it.
Yeah, and I was really bummed because our original plan was to stick with Apple TV shows because we have like a little niche in Apple TV and we like to stick with it because they make some pretty good shows. And I was like, well, guys, let's do Halo because it's going to be super popular and it's a very popular franchise. It would probably get a lot of views and I'm gonna watch it anyway. And then I watched it and I was like, shit, like we should have went back with Mythic Quest or something on Apple TV that we were going to review instead. But God, Severance.
Severance.
Which, by the way,
a show we should have done for the
Severance
show.
on Apple TV was freaking awesome.
I watched the first episode and I was like, yeah.
You got to get into it.
Oh man, it gets deep.
It gets really cool.
It gets deep.
I got better things to do with my time.
Like what?
Jerk off.
Okay.
You
With
can
your tiny
do it at the same time.
You could jerk off while watching Severance.
Whatever.
Oh my God.
What?
I don't even know what to say. How do you follow that up?
It's like,
Jerk off while watching Severance. All right,
welcome to the
guys.
Salty Nerd Podcast.
Think about Bone Tomahawk.
I'll shrink you right up. Ice bath.
Split you right down the middle, buddy.
Oh, Alex just thinks of Kurt Russell's facial hair.
Listen, man,
Fantastic hair. God,
I
love
jerk
it.
off a lot. Okay, so it just is what it is.
Speaking of top 5 worst things ever, imagining that. All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna end this live, or we're gonna end this this video. So that's our top 5 worst movies that we watched this year with a couple honorable mentions. Matt Vader, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me at Matt Vader 74, probably watching porn or something. You know,
Why?
So, I don't know.
Because he likes to jerk off.
I like to. It's fun.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Jude.
It still works.
Use it or lose it, buddy.
That's right.
They can find Jude on the socials. Go ahead.
You can find me on OnlyFans and FeetFinder.com at just kidding. You can find me on the socials at I am Juju. And you can find us on Facebook at saltynerdgroup.com. And if you're on an Apple device watching this or listening to this, scroll down and give us a 5-star rating because we've been trying to get 200 for like 2 years now. And I don't know what your problem is. So
That'll get them to go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jude.
5 stars.
please do it.
You fucking assholes. Just do it. Okay?
We know you're out there.
Yeah. We know you listen. We see the stats.
There's
Hit
like
the 5 stars.
There's 30 people watching this right now live.
Yeah, if all 30
Fucking
of
get on
you,
your, you're on your phone while you're watching this.
if all 30 of you went there right this second and hit the 5 stars, it'd be over with.
We're such ungrateful pricks. Guys, it's no big deal. Whatever. Just do your thing. Be
do
nice
it.
to the people.
Do it.
Be nice to them.
That's the new approach.
Do it or fuck you.
Fuck you. Get it done.
Please.
Or we're not going to make the show anymore. How's that?
No, don't say that.
I can't say that?
No.
We're still going to make the
We're
show.
still going to make the show.
We're just
Well,
going to
I'm not.
motherfuck you every show.
Yeah.
God damn it. You guys are terrible.
Where can you find you, Kadish?
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter and Truth Social. And KadishBooks.com takes you to our Amazon page. What were you going to say, Vader?
I said it's like that Twitch bitch said,
Oh,
you need to give me more than $5.
Yeah, don't be that person.
If you can't give me more than that, you cheap motherfuckers, I'm not even going to entertain you. No, that was so bad.
I, for one, the creator of the show is very appreciative of you just watching. Comment if you can. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the 5 worst movies that you watched this year.
Yeah.
Subscribe. We're super nice, I promise. Don't pay any attention to these salty motherfuckers.
If me sitting here eating cereal with my tits out isn't worth more than $5 to you, then you don't deserve to watch my show. So there.
This is a joke. He's not being serious. That's it. We're done. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. See you next year.
Join us on Discord.
And Dragon Champions. Codename Salty. Dun, dun, dun.
All right. Adios, guys. Thank you. Stay salty.